We'll start, if it's okay, with TB, and then we'll go to Maxo, and then we'll continue. So TB, do you want to
Yeah.
give some marketing updates?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you well.
Awesome, sounds good. Generally exciting times. Lots happening in the community today. The old thread came out, which was, Mod reached out to them first, and then I think at some point they asked um, about new founders they should get in touch with, and then the community was obviously all over it, and I think we caught their eye. Um, and we are also in chat with them about getting published on the podcast. And while we were waiting for their response, this thread came out, and it's just amazing the things that the community is really making happen. And to that end, I wanted to cover today, I think what we see, at least in the marketing team working right now, is we are reaching out to folks, important folks in the industry, and then when the community engages them, they kind of remember us. Um, and then we start another conversation either from the marketing side or maybe BD side. And I feel like that's a good sort of way to operate in this way. So to that end, if you see something or someone mention Beanstalk, obviously always feel free to alert us, alert the Twitter army, and at the same time, we'll also let you know when we see someone mention. But this whole system of just amplifying.
We lose you, TB?
TB, yeah, I
sort
lost
of
you there.
each other's voices and noting to each other when. Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
can hear you now.
Yeah, so the system is working well, and
Oh no.
Yeah.
Hope to continue this.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll take it.
Apart from that,
ahead,
we had the video come out yesterday. Can you hear me?
We can hear you until you start to say something substantive, and then like magic, we lose you, unfortunately.
Yeah, TB, I think if it's okay.
Yeah, apart from that, we had the video come out yesterday. We have the podcast coming out soon, which will help promote. We also have. Sorry, Dumpling, I can circle back later when I'm in a better place.
I think what it is that you're on about a 5-second delay. So if you just want to maybe type out a couple of things in the Barnyard chat, but there's great energy. Definitely hear you. I think this has been a terrific week, marketing wise. So really appreciate it. But I think it's just a little too painful for us with the back and forth and the delay.
Sounds good.
Okay. Do we have Max? So do you want to give some Biz Dev updates?
Yeah, I can jump in. So I'm sure, as you guys know, we're spinning up a pool with Olympus. There will be a Bean Geome pool. So we've been in touch with, it's been some of the early Ohm guys, these guys who are from WAGMI Labs, and basically they're going to be seeding the Geome side of the pool. So that is super exciting. And the other thing that they're going to do is they're going to add Bean as an asset type in their Rari Fuse party pool, which is pretty big. So two good things with Ohm that are happening. And then in the future, what we'd really like to do is we'd like to convince them to seed an LUSD pool. They still hold about 5% of the LUSD supply, and we really are trying to get an LUSD Bean pool created. So that's something that we're going to work on, in the future with them. So yeah, that's Ohm. Very excited about that. Another thing that's happening is Bankless DAO reached out to us. They're looking at new stables to add to their treasury. And so Jarvis, the guy who ran the Bankless DAO Publius AMA, he's been super bullish on Bean. And so he's helping us with this conversation to potentially get beans in the Bankless DAO treasury. And then they're also going to include us in a write-up on top stablecoins. They were originally just going to do, I think, top 10 market cap stablecoins, but now they're expanding it to include Bean, which is really cool. Yeah, those are two of the biggest updates. Another one that's cool is Syncubate, shout out to Syncubate. He originated this partnership that we're going to do with Zerion, where they're a wallet essentially, and they're now open to adding a feature to Zerion where it's like a one-click interact with Beanstalk straight from the wallet. So yeah, those are a few of the biggest things from the week.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great. So the Zerion, I know that like in Zapper, you can see beans if they're not deposited beans. But so what would all show up in the in Zerion?
Yeah, and Zerion, as well as with Zapper, we're trying to work with Zapper to get a more holistic view of like your Beanstalk assets, because right now you can see the beans that live in your wallet, but not, the ones that you have in in the silo. So yeah, I mean, that will be the goal for both Zerion as well as Zapper, is like, an actual view of your assets.
Awesome. I think everyone's going to feel much richer when they can see that. I basically banned Zapper personally until
you can't look at that.
until then. Can't look at that. Cool. So I'll go next with operations. So we've been having a lot of we've been working on the budget, which I think we should have something for people to see here pretty shortly. And then has been a lot of hiring, both, mostly, within Beanstalk Farms, all the different departments. You've probably seen all the snapshots. So we're really excited about the people that we're bringing on board. There's also been a little bit of internal hiring in operations. So I have a few people, and we'll be submitting some snapshots soon. So that's also pretty exciting. And then, just kind of continuing to do what we can to kind of streamline processes. I think JWW is going to be talking about the payroll, but we have been, that's been, as it grows, it becomes a more complicated beast. But we've been documenting how to do it, and I think we'll be likely bringing someone else on to help out with that process. So that's pretty exciting. And a few other things. I know that there's been some people who have, mentioned that they would really like to, people who wanted to come on full time, but that healthcare has been an issue. So there's some services that provide healthcare to DAOs. Now the trick is to figure out how to do it without doxing yourself and that sort of thing. But it's something that I'm at least looking into. And I'll give updates as I get more information on that. But it's something that would be amazing that if we could, if we could provide that. I think everyone would be really excited about that. But it's also a something we have to figure out, and then we have to figure out how that relates to to the ultimate compensation of people. So there's definitely been a lot of interest and several people have mentioned it to me. Unsolicited. So that's something that I'm kind of looking into. And that's about it from my end. Next, Rex, do you want to chat about the community?
Sure. Before I go though, did you see my message about Opolis?
Yes.
Perfect. Because I just doing some reading about them. They may be a really good option for some of those benefit opportunities. And I mean, obviously understanding that question about doxing oneself and level of comfort with that. But
Rex, one last thing I wanted to mention is I'm having a few chats with with some folks about our like overall corporate structure and that sort of thing. So I don't want also about the payroll, the healthcare thing. I obviously don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but it's just I want to let you know that I do hear you guys, and it's we're going to see what we can see if there are options and bring them to the DAO as as an option. So
understood and appreciated.
Go ahead, Rex.
All right. Sounds good. So quite a few things on the list. I'll try to run through them relatively quickly. So right now, working on onboarding PF Drake in the events lead position and Cassie in the social media lead position. I want to take just a second to kind of run through I've gotten feedback from a handful of folks about some concerns regarding Cassie, and wanted to give feedback to this group about what my thinking was in bringing them into the team. And frankly, I'm excited. I was looking for somebody that was high energy, willing to learn, kind of embody a lot of those characteristics that we're looking for inside of Beanstalk, and understanding that she doesn't necessarily, come from a strictly social media background, but still has a lot of those characteristics we're looking for. So all that being said, as they get into the swing of things and kind of get settled in, first of all, we've got a lot of discussions happening around how we want to manage those processes and a lot of feedback. And what I'll do for this team as well is always give you an invitation to give me feedback. If you've got questions, concerns, thoughts that come up, never hesitate to reach out. Everybody's learning, everybody's growing. Want to make sure that invitation's open. So all that being said, working through some of that onboarding, we've got a snapshot out for J-Dubs for his movement from part-time to full-time, which I'm really excited about. Obviously, he's been doing all kinds of stuff with the organization for a while now, and really like the idea of solidifying his position. Love pulling him into the community team. So super excited about that. Talking with Bean Intern about potentially moving into the part-time metaverse role that I've got open. A lot of Bean Intern from obviously from different meetings and interactions within Discord, and then on Twitter as well. Big thinker, big idea Bean. So looking to take all that creative energy and funnel it towards the metaverse, and working on partnering with operations and some folks that the Dumpling's talking to add structure around the tornado that is Bean Intern. Then really eventually ending up with a working team, metaverse working team. Talking with William from Serotonin about some components of onboarding and bringing new members into the community, and really looking to him as something of an advisor, and then partnering him with J-Dubs to really build out this new user socialization experience. So looking forward to that. Working on a suggestion box for events. And this idea came out of, there was some discussion a few weeks back about March Madness and should we do brackets and what are we going to do? And the conversation just, it wasn't really too solidified. And so I think there was some confusion about what the next steps were. Nothing happened because there was just kind of confusion about what we're supposed to do next and who was going to own it. To work through that, we're going to be putting together a suggestion box and putting it in Discord. So like as these ideas come up, there's a place to take them. And so working on that, probably going to utilize a bot for that, and should help with grasping those opportunities and like kind of getting our arms around them with a little bit more advanced notice and understanding. So that's coming. And then last thing I'm working on at Dumpling's request, basically what we're calling a state of the community. Basically just a few paragraphs about how I see the community's development up to this point, and then what I see in the future as opportunities, risks, things that we can focus on, ways we can grow. So lots of good stuff going on.
Oh, and thanks for mentioning that, Rex. Yeah, so we're going to do a quarterly stockholders meeting, which I think is going to be kind of fun. We'll do it, have a big, have each department come up and talk about, what their successes have been and what they're looking forward to in Q2, and kind of just do like a state of the bean, so to speak. And then, yeah, so that will be a good opportunity with mostly an open format that we can do Great Hall, which we don't use very often. And yeah, I think that'll be good. People can address, different concerns and and opportunities going into Q2. And so looking forward to doing that. So going to be organizing that. I'll pick a date for that quite soon. We should have a date. Over the weekend, we'll select the date. Okay, so next on to Beansprout. So Mr. Manifold, want to talk about Beansprout?
Sure.
Saloon.
Yeah, totally. So I guess the first thing I'll start with is Max and I have been in touch with this guy. His Discord handle's Black Mamba. He initially approached us about this Discord NFT marketplace he was building that would apparently like undercut OpenSea's fees, and it'd just be a smoother, like cheaper way to exchange NFTs. And he kind of pitched us on Bean being an accepted form of payment, which we thought was kind of cool, but frankly didn't like excite me that much. But like we're like, yeah, we'll take it. And he was looking for a grant from us. But we kind of started to think more with him, and tomorrow we're going to have a call with him at 6 p.m. ET. And the general idea is like, what if we could create a peer-to-peer marketplace denominated in beans, and whether that marketplace runs on Discord or somewhere else, it could be interesting if we could start exchanging, goods and services in beans in a peer-to-peer fashion. So, just like a high-level idea, but the reason why I'm bringing it up is if anyone is interested in being on that call or, contributing to the idea, or if that becomes like a spin-off project, just feel free to DM me and we can get you involved. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing, which Dumpling mentioned, that has been taking up most of my time as of late, is this project we are calling the Saloon. The Saloon has two primary objectives at the moment. One is to provide a sustainable and attractive fixed rate offering for depositors that leverages Beanstalk and potentially stake collateral like Anchor does. And the second objective is to create a third way to bet on the growth of Beanstalk aside from siloing and sowing in the field today. So that's, a liquid token that somehow captures the growth of the protocol. So, right now talking to some really talented engineers, some really talented high-level thinkers. We're having calls, we're working through different models and scenarios. And ultimately, like our first goal is to get to a model that we like, that we feel is sustainable, unlike Anchor, that can be competitive and outcompete Anchor. And achieve those objectives that I kind of listed out. So, and then, if we can get to that point, I think the thought would be to go out and formalize a team and raise capital. So, that's something that's interesting. Another key piece of it is to create a UI that's, maybe a little bit more retail friendly and a little bit like simplified from what, Beanstalk's native app is. If you go onto Anchor, it's so easy a 5-year-old could use it. So, something like that. Two like key things that we're working on. With Afra, Andrew had a bug on the vaults. So they're kind of just going back. There's a little bit of a delay there. I don't think it's anything like terrible. It's just going to take some more time. And yeah, I think those are the major updates. Happy to answer any questions, thoughts, or ideas on this call, or if you want to message me. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Manifold. Any questions for him before we move on? Cool. Okay, Deez, do you want to chat about design?
Hey, yeah, sure. I can give some updates. Yeah, I mean, lots of stuff going on in marketing, community. We're just here supporting, trying to make more content to get to marketing. Podcast is up and ready. We're just waiting to get that onto Apple Podcasts. so we can launch with that set up. Website, that's kind of the biggest focus of design right now, is to just make sure that we have a solid UX and a solid UI ready. Oh, sorry, I just dropped something. Yeah, and then we also have a Beanstalk, kind of like a promo intro video, separate from the explainer video, something that we can throw onto socials and literally introducing Beanstalk and just what it is to get people excited. You know, jazz hands video, kind of a type of a deal. And that should be coming soon, end of the month. And we just put up like a design request channel in design department, and so for anything that we need, just go to the channel and fill out what you would like for graphic design. We've gotten a ton in past 2 days, and so thought it'd be good to kind of streamline that process and make it a little bit easier for Guav, who's leading up our graphic designs and things like that. So, but yeah, really exciting. Just grinding. So, I mean, if you have any questions, please, DMs are always open.
I love the design requests channel. I think that's a really good idea. So let us know how that works, and we can maybe replicate that for other departments. And just let us maybe next week. Let us know, how that's been going, and you can give us an update on that. That's really great. Do we have Silo Chad?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Awesome, thanks. So a lot going on for sure across the engineering department, particularly on front end. First on hiring, so Coolbean will be joining us full time starting at the end of the month. So super excited to have them start in a more full capacity. We've also spun up another engineer, Beanie Hut Juniors, who's doing a lot of great work across both of our front end sites, the main site and then also the app. So really excited to kind of have the ball moving with both of them. Still looking to bring on one or two more people to work sort of across the front end repos that we have currently, as well as on some of the middleware SDK type stuff. So if you encounter any TypeScript engineers who are interested in building on Ethereum, please let me know. In terms of some concrete stuff that we've been working on this week, so two big sort of code projects. One is working on getting Wallet Connect set up on the main site. This has proven to be a pretty big task. So I've been doing a lot of cleanup and re-architecting work to make this happen and hoping to have that done ASAP. I'm way over deadline on that one, but you should expect to have something shipped there in the next couple days. And then in terms of other stuff, so we're working right now to make a blog on the bean.money website. So this will basically we'll sort of port over our existing Medium content to this new blog and then use that as the main place where we push Beanstalk related content. The idea here is that we want to build SEO around the Beanstalk domain. We found after some investigation into the site analytics that a lot of our traffic is coming organically through Google. And so we're going to try to double down on this, especially since we have such good content all over the place. So that project has been moving forward super well. I just want to shout out everybody who's been involved there, helping get the engineering done and coordinate across marketing and copy. It's really been a great project in terms of like how well we've coordinated and how fast we've moved. So just wanted to shout everybody out there. We're expecting to have all of that done by tomorrow, kind of putting the final pieces in place tonight, moving the content over from Medium, and then launching that. So expect to see that in the next day or so. And yeah, I think those are the sort of the concrete things. Happy to answer any questions about those as well. At a more macro level, I think the thing that's on my mind is basically just how can we get to a point where all of the engineering teams are really moving in alignment and sort of at the same pace. I think we've kind of spread out across teams over the last few months, and projects are kind of at different places in the life cycle. Some things are like the subgraph, for example, is a little bit behind what the protocol might be. And so just trying to think about how we can best line all of those things up over the next month or two. To answer your question, Dr. Beans, if you can still hear me, hopefully, we are not using WordPress. We're using Netlify CMS, which just basically renders to Markdown. But happy to answer any other specifics about the CMS as well.
That's cool. All good.
And so this is, I guess, to Silo, Chad, and D's Beans. How are we looking as far as like an end of the quarter, beginning of Q2 launch for the new website? Do you think that's on track? Do you think it's realistic, or should that be pushed back? Where are we at?
Yeah, no, for sure. So we had a pretty big meeting with the product team, or UX UI, beginning of this week, and looking like after some feedback, we wanted to take a couple extra weeks because we want to actually get community feedback. Like leave some time for that, leave some time for some user research feedback as well, iterate on that, and then launch it. Because originally, I think the plan was to kind of cut corners, right? And if we're going to send out an MVP, then we just do something with like a less iteration process and less feedback. But it seems like the product team is pretty pumped to do this right. And if the DAO is okay with that, if we could push that back a couple of weeks, that'd be great.
Sure. So we're thinking like a couple of weeks. So would that be like kind of like April 15th, or what are we?
Yeah, I mean, it's also, Silo Chat can speak to this too, depending on how much help we will be able to get for front end. But we'll be pushing things. We'll be pushing a mid-fidelity pass of the entire website experience next Wednesday. And then from there, it's just refinement, iterations, research. So, but probably middle of April, somewhere around there. That's kind of what we're shooting for.
And Silo, Chad, does that sound doable on your end?
I'm hoping so. Frankly, a lot of it comes down to the specifics of the wireframes. So I think I'm starting to get a better sense for what's going to be included, but that's what I would like to target. I'll have to give you an update on that in like a week or so once we have some more of them back.
Okay. So we can put in for next meeting to have a launch date that we think we can get to. But yeah, I don't think we want to. I mean, I'm also happy to open it up and let other people chime in. I don't think we want to. We've waited long enough. We've put enough into this that we should really make it a good experience right from the get go. Is my feeling. But and if it takes an extra couple of weeks to do that, I think that's reasonable. I'd be happy to get a couple of other thoughts on that, but
I agree with that, Dumpling. We're getting to the point where a lot of eyes are on the project. Obviously we saw it today that there are a lot of eyes on the project now, and that's just going to grow. And at this point, it's getting to the point where it's worth it to take our time and make sure the launches are solid, and that we don't have anybody on Twitter saying, hey, Beanstalk launched their new UX UI and I couldn't use it. That's just not something we do at this point. It's worth it to slow the pace of play down a little bit to make sure we nail it.
Yeah, no, thanks for that, Rex. And to also just give some reassurance, like we're definitely not slowing down in any means as far as how much we're trying to grind. Like the original deadline was also like already kind of a tall order of trying to finish this all up in, I think it was like a month or a month and a half. But yeah, like we definitely are still kind of pedal to the metal, and that's our goal. But yeah, I really appreciate if we could have a little bit more patience. Another big factor going into that decision earlier this week was just, Beanstalk seems to be performing really well, as everyone knows. And so while it's performing well, let's definitely make sure the designs are right and the experience is just good from the rebrand launch. So
before we move on, I just wanted to open it up for a few more people to comment, just because we have a lot of people here. And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I would echo what Dumpling and Rex said as well. I mean, since it's kind of at the last stretch, it makes sense, to get it as close as possible. I think what would be awesome though, Deez, is like if you can give like I know we do these weekly updates, but I think a lot of us are kind of like in a black box of like what's going on. So even if you can just give a little more granularity of like where that process is, that would be super helpful. But the other thing I think is, Silo Chat, it sounded like you've got kind of and obviously you've got a ton on your plate. Is there anything that we could do on your side to kind of help loosen that up? I know you're looking for front end devs and stuff like that, but is there any way that something could shift around or bring in kind of last minute talent or something like that for on your side to help kind of with the process?
Yeah, great question. I mean, always down to chat with any talented engineers that you know. So please send them all my way regardless, and I'll take that call. I think right now, candidly, the thing I'm having to learn as we move forward is how correctly to triage all the different stuff that's coming across, the front end engineering team's desk. And that's been a learning experience for me. I guess in terms of what you could do there specifically is, and I think we've seen this work really well on more recently on the Bean.money blog project, but just helping scope things down, keeping things quick in terms of iteration cycles, and being over communicative about things is really all I need to kind of move things forward. So please keep just like DMing me with problems or as stuff comes up. I'll do my best to triage all of those. And yeah, if you know anybody, let me know. But I think outside of that, the best thing is just getting to wireframes as quickly as we can on the design side. And I know that they're working hard to get that done.
And maybe obviously you don't need like layers upon layers of stuff, but just knowing that you guys are kind of crunching through a lot of the execution on the design, and then Silo's crunching through a lot of execution on the engineering. Would it be easier if there was somebody that just had like even a couple of hours to kind of help connect the dots between the two, or is it just a good flow of conversation between the two of you, between design and engineering?
Oh no, yeah. Like I mean, talking like Red Beans and Jelly have pretty open communication with Silo Chat, and like we're doing weekly reviews and things like that. So I think it should be okay. I'm a little bit hesitant to get I'm a little bit hesitant to get people kind of buddied up and slowing that down to just add another layer, another person to go through. So yeah.
I'd echo that. I'm like anti PM at this stage, and like pro just like fast communication.
Any other thoughts or people want to chime in? I know that sometimes we can move kind of fast on these items. This is an important one, so I wanted to make sure we got everyone's input.
My only comment is with regards to try to perfect something before it's out. I would always prefer speed over trying to get something that pleases everyone. So as long as it's doing what it's supposed to do, I say launch with it, and then we can improve over trying to perfect things. So maybe let's not shy of having things that are not perfect, but having things out and out in public as soon as possible.
Yeah, we would echo that sentiment that ultimately there's a real balance between perfection and pushing product. And even in the case of Beanstalk, right, like things were not perfect. There have been bips that have improved things, and the website and the user experience will be much easier to change than the protocol itself. And so ultimately recognize that we want to get it right. And when we launch the new website and the new brand and experience, it needs to be cohesive. But also I think we don't want to keep pushing it back too far. So the goal would probably be to get some sort of target launch date that's circled on the calendar that all departments can work towards, in our opinion. And then beyond that, just we're happy to help, get everything over the finish line to whatever date is selected, and recognize that's not going to be tomorrow, but hopefully sometime in the middle of April that can happen. And from a practical perspective, thinking about the testing it and getting the community's input, maybe we should have a development branch that's live that people can test the new user experience and give feedback and say what feels weird and doesn't. So the sooner we can get something, even if it's not on the main Bean.money website, the sooner we can get something up that people can start to work with, the better.
Yeah, to speak to that a little bit, my plan is to triage this in stages. So once we have sort of the overall structure of the site down, which I think is basically done, and then some of the initial flows, for example, with the silo, we'll go ahead and just get started on that. And I think you can expect to have a dev branch to the community probably several weeks ahead of when we might actually launch the entire experience. If we can close that gap and make it more like a week and launch things sooner, we'll certainly do that. But certainly expect to have something that everybody can play with on mainnet soon.
The last thing I'd mention on this is that the first day of spring is Sunday, March 20th. So I wonder about the winter theme and if we should have a temporary, just a quick take the snow
keep
off.
wondering. There'll be a spring surprise.
Oh, okay. All right. Just wanted to, all right.
Yeah, to answer
go ahead.
Oh yeah, for sure. For the user research, we're planning to do that very soon. The feedback from the community, we're really trying to have that good for end of next week. So if there was a circle to date for that, I would say somewhere around there, end of next week. So hopefully that's when we can start to kind of get into it. By then the full basic experience should be done.
And maybe I wonder, TB, I don't know if you're if you can still speak, but maybe Mod could speak to this, or JWW, but the timeline as far as the promotions that we're the agencies we're working with, are there any big ad buys or anything that are that we should be aware of as far as timing that factors into this?
Nothing concrete yet. And anyways, even once we do, these people won't be come next week. It will take some time as well. So I don't see us this is not stopping any of our efforts. And once we have something that we think is big enough, we'll definitely share it beforehand.
Awesome.
And then just to build on that, there is also in the pipeline dumpling the plan for when that happens, there will be an announcement that will pair some content about the rebranding and stuff like that. But to Mod's point, should we even do any paid media for this, that would happen pretty instantaneously, and that as of now is not a approach that we're using on the marketing stuff in general. In terms of marketing outreach, paid media is not something that we're looking at yet. Okay.
Good, you're good. All right. Well, if that's it on this, I think I'll close discussion and move on. So I skipped something earlier in community. Canadian Bennett and Farmer Dan wanted to talk about some layer 3 bounties, and I guess I'll let you take it from there. I think there's something to choose.
Yeah, so the layer 3 bounties finished up over the weekend or a couple days ago, and Farmer Dan and I spent some time trying to pick the winners, and for 2 of the contests, the winners are picked by the DAO. So if I can start, the one bounty that the DAO needs to pick the winner for is make a quiz about Beanstalk that's similar to the Coinbase learn quizzes, I guess. So I can drop. We basically picked the top 3. There's a bunch that just were not correct and bad. So I'll here's a link. There's the 3 quizzes, and then there's a straw poll at the end if you want to just select which one you thought was the best. Closing for this one will close in about 24 hours.
Can Canadian, I wonder, I mean, a little bit of it is semantics, but I wonder if we should also maybe do a snapshot for this, since, this is, there's some overlap here between, DAO members and obviously Beanstalk Farms members. But I wonder if we should, to get a little more exposure, or maybe we could just post it in an announcements on the Discord, Publius, just to get a little more exposure, so it's not just the 30 of us, but everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be open to any of those ideas.
Sorry, I'm not sure if I understood what's happening here. Is this like some form of a quiz that we're doing? And people, can you take me over it again? I'm not sure I understood this.
Yeah, so at this point, it's more so just for fun. Like some of these bounties were just to create content or spread the word and stuff. This was more just like an idea one. We're more so just voting on, like the best version of what we were trying to create. There's no indication that we're going to be using this exactly. It was more so just collecting more more different Beanstalk content, really.
Okay. Some of our community members, Bean Merchant and Maxwell, they recommended 101, which we reached out to and we got access to them. I haven't yet checked out the platform, and I'm not sure if this could be something that can help. But, I'm gonna send it to you and see if this, is similar to what you're trying to do, and maybe you can use it.
Yeah, and maybe it's something that we add into there or something like that for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, as far as
go ahead, Farmerden.
Yeah, I guess just my opinion. It would be awesome if we could put it somewhere in the Discord for people to vote on. I don't know if we really want to make it as big as an announcement. We can, but typically on the snapshots I see probably like 4, 5, 6 votes for most things. So I think Discord might be a little bit better there.
Yeah, definitely. The other thing is, because of our optimistic approval, a lot of people aren't voting because it's like things, tend to pass unless there's a quorum in the negative. So it probably isn't appropriate for snapshot. I think the best middle ground is probably Discord. I'll find a place to post it, and we'll try to get as many votes on this as we can.
Cool. Yeah, and then the other one was a little merch contest that we put on too. So we actually got a ton of submissions for these layer 3 bounties. I don't know if it's just because our community is growing or layer 3 also did an update on their website and stuff. But for example, I mean, we got like almost 40 different memes submitted, probably 20 different merch items, and also like a handful of videos too that people posted on YouTube. There was like 3 in different languages and then like a few in English as well. So like tons of like really good quality stuff that we got that, was even a growth from the last round that we did. But let's see here. So same thing. If you go over to the merch channel, I'm going to drop it in there actually. Let's see. So basically we narrowed it down to 4 from each category, the 2 categories being apparel and accessories. And we're basically picking the top 2 from each category. Do it in slideshow mode if you want to take a look at it, but basically we're planning on keeping this open for like 24 hours, I think, to get some votes in, if that sounds reasonable.
Yeah, that sounds good. And
Yeah,
Farmerdan, if you had to give a number of total engagement that we got, or total submissions and engagement that we got from layer 3, what would you say?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say probably close to 100. I would say that's probably right. Trying to get back to the website right now. Give me one sec.
Yeah, I would also say about 100 seems about right.
And these are for like, they create like something where they had to take a significant step, like creating a meme or creating a piece of merch or something like that. Like not just like liking and retweeting something, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's correct.
Yeah, so
And
this
the
round,
last round,
yeah.
the last round had a lot of those like likes and retweet ones, and we had probably like for those, you'd get several hundred, or how do those work?
Yeah, we got at least 200 for the retweet, and then there was like the put bean money, like the 2 emojis in your handle, and that one got like another 200 as well. But yeah, I mean, it's been pretty great. Like you said, somebody actually came to our community from Layer 3 before, and same thing with Cassie too. We had this community meeting last week for the first time, and I recognized the name from like one of the winners from the submission, so I thought that was pretty cool too.
Yeah, there's been a few people now who have reached out to me and said that they really came from the Layer 3, so that's pretty cool. So thanks, guys. I think you did a great job with that.
Yeah,
we'll have to
thanks.
discuss, how we want to do that, if we want to keep doing that on an ongoing basis or what the plan is.
Yeah, and I know Rex has some really good ideas too. But yeah, if you have a sec, definitely go ahead and check out the that slideshow that I just dropped in there. Like I said, it's best to view it in like the actual slideshow form, but some of those accessories are pretty cool. Somebody made a pair of Beanstalk shoes, actually. That's pretty sweet.
All right, well, cool, guys. Yeah, everyone make sure to go there and vote. And we'll do some sort of announcement to try to get more eyes there. So next we'll get to copy. So I think Quasimat and Ereal can give us some updates on. Yeah, Quasimat couldn't make it, so Ereal is going to give updates.
Yeah, so we actually have a lot going on, especially with the blog launching. I think the first official sort of new piece that's going to go up on it will be the first edition of Dalteco's series of community interviews, which are great. The first one is featuring a guest who's here. Maybe I'll mums the word on who it is, just to leave a bit of surprise for the rest of you. So that'll go up when the blog launches on Friday. We have a bunch of other content. Essentially, we're merging the medium with the blog, and then sort of discarding the medium. So BIP announcements on Layer 3 bounties, all that stuff is going to be on the blog now. We'll also have some community contributions. So like if I write a piece analyzing recent marketplace behavior, then that'll go on the blog. All that stuff will go on the blog. So that'll be great. We're also working on, I think Austin and I might work on adapting his awesome piece from earlier this week for a coin market cap article that they asked us if we wanted to post. So we'll hopefully get that going and maybe have them posted sometime next week. The last thing that I'd touch on is IPO and Chill and I are working on a deck that we'll start to use for some conversations with more institutional money managers. Just a sort of a more formal outlining of what the protocol is, what it does, what the investment opportunity is to VCs and some crypto hedge funds, just so everyone's aware. Within those conversations, there won't be any special terms or anything like that pitched. We're really just talking to institutional asset managers about what the protocol is and why it's an attractive place to put their capital. So we're going to be working on that. There's not a super set deadline on when that's going to be done, but that's just sort of simmering on the background. Other things that are going on, we are revamping the About section of the website, so it's a bit more user-friendly and less technical. And then we have some educational materials, some more video scripts that are being worked on. I know J-Man is taking the lead on that stuff. I think he's shooting to have a first draft or two out this weekend. And then Quasimat is leading the charge on the Gitbook, which are going to be huge just for providing educational materials on new members of the community. That's clearly one of the most requested pieces of copy that we've gotten within the Discord. So it'll be great to have that up and running soon enough.
Great, thanks, Ariel. Yeah, great updates there. We're going to move right along to TBIC for analytics.
Hey, what's up, everyone? So yeah, this last week I've been working on kind of two things in parallel. One of them being the Silo APY calculator. which I'd say it's kind of in a beta phase right now. The query is done and it takes user input, and I'm still deciding on kind of how to visualize things and what information to surface to the user, and also kind of the layout of the dashboard. But I would imagine that that's going to be completed within the next week. And I'll be sharing that around probably before I start advertising it a lot. So if anyone is interested in using kind of the beta version of it, feel free to reach out. I'll probably post about it pretty soon. In addition to that, I've been working on a regression analysis to come up with a model for pricing pods on the pod marketplace. And this is going to be really useful as we look to make a draft proposal to Fiat DAO for using pods as collateral in their protocol. So both of those things are pretty well developed. I'd say for the regression analysis, I have a good basis down. I'm just since volume has been increasing so quickly within the past few days / couple of weeks, I'm kind of just waiting until we get more data points to rerun it again, because the more data points, the more accurate it is. But it's looking good so far, so making good progress in both of those areas. And in addition to that, I also set up a conversation this last week with a team called Playgrounds. They're kind of a collective building decentralized data infrastructure tools, mostly on the Graph network. And we're kind of in conversations with them on two fronts right now. Like, one, we're trying to decide if their framework for developing on the Graph protocol, which is kind of what we use as the basis of our decentralized data infrastructure. We're trying to decide if we want to use their framework, and also we are considering hiring them, so adding capacity to our subgraph development team to kind of push that work item along, as it's we don't have a lot of developers in that area right now, so that's something we really need. So based on a conversation we had with them recently, we're kind of talking internally about how we want to interact with this team moving forward. But we could potentially be getting some help in the subgraph area, which would be great. But yeah, those are kind of the things I've been working on, and a progress update on them.
Thanks, T-Bag. Sometimes it just hits me like, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Yvonne.
Sorry, excuse me. In addition of what T-Cube said, about fixing on upgrading subgraphs, I working alone for the moment on the subgraph subject. I'm about to finalize bin graph for the next weeks with new curve pull metrics such as liquidity value, volume, and price over time. And after that, I will fix some problem on the Beanstalk subgraph, like the window metrics. We also want to add how silo field market and the user pods work over time. We would also like to get a silo TVL on API data points for each season, as well as the deposited on redraw on curve pool. That's all. It's a little update about subgraph.
Gotcha. Yeah, thanks for that.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Yvonne. I was just going to say that it's just, sometimes it just hits me that we have like 27 like awesome rock stars here, in the same room. It's really cool. So like that from ETH Wallet, like that's amazing, and thanks for your hard work and just everyone. So I think I'll give the floor to Publius for a second or two, and then we'll and we've all been patiently waiting for Beanthoven and Bella Bean Talk. So Publius, do you have anything you want to share?
Sorry, because I had the wrong the daylight saving. I'm sorry, I think I missed the first bit of it. But did you guys get an update from marketing already?
We might want a more fleshed out version. We had TB, but his connection was kind of spotty. So maybe, why don't you give us a marketing update, Mod? That'd be great.
Okay, sure thing. I can cover just quickly, I guess, unless if everyone already got to know what TB said, but I'm happy just to give an overview on what's happening there. Then I can give an update on partnerships and what's happening with Creator.
I think you're usually pretty quick, so do everything.
Yeah. All right. I see TB already mentioned some of the initiatives that are happening. So we have the blog, the content that's coming out in there. One more thing to add in there is the newsletter. We had the first issue done. I took a final look at it today. I posted it so the rest of the team can check it out. And if we're happy with it, then hopefully we can have a first issue, which covers the first half of the month. So, from March 1st to 15th. And then we expect it to be, a bi-weekly newsletter. So every 2 weeks. Just like the last edition, I think that copy didn't mention. The Bean Pod, I believe you guys already heard the first episode, so that's the podcast that's out there. Serotonin, we had a call with them today where they updated or they gave us a strategy or their strategy basically on how do you want to go forward or what do you want to approach with marketing. The team didn't get a chance to regroup after this call, so we're going to discuss it tomorrow. And they'll probably have a better update to you on it. But Serotonin has already shared with us what they think are the next steps forward, or what are the things that they think we'll want to do and tackle on first. Luna with JWW, we already signed the contract. I expect, I'm not sure when exactly that will kick off, but I believe pretty soon, if I'm not mistaken, JWW you can say what date do we expect them to start.
Yep, yeah, for sure. So Luna is all signed away, snapshot passed and everything, and Rex stepped up to sign. Thanks again, Rex, for that. We're confirming the wallet with them right now. They're definitely chomping at the bit to get going. The aim is to start with them next Monday. I'll hear from them there Friday morning, so just in a couple of hours when they wake up, and I'll send an update to the team. But ideally, we're starting with them as early as next week, Monday.
Then. Before partnerships with Creator, so briefly to give you an update on what they did in March, we had with them around 10 different content created between articles, Twitter threads, YouTube videos, and Twitter Spaces. What I found interesting was to see the impact of the content as time progresses. Which kind of makes sense. You don't expect, or at the beginning you expect to get, the peak of it right away. But in this case, I saw that, the second week was when we started to get, the value of it. Like some of the videos, in specific, this user video that we created and picked up was just organically by someone else, a much bigger YouTube channel that, they saw that video and then they created the video of their own. And right now, for the first time, if you just go to YouTube, search Beanstalk, you actually show up. You don't have to type crypto or anything in that. So very happy with the content that's happening with there. We still have Creator with us for one more month from the earlier snapshot that we had. So we have them contracted till the end of April. I had a call earlier with them. To give them an indication that we will probably going to recommend the community that we renew with them till the end of Q2. And what I will do now is, define it into a snapshot, share it with the community, tell them what are the things that we're moving forward with it, and then we take it in there, if we want to continue working with them. But our recommendation is that we continue pushing out content with them. What are we working on with them next is we're having a plan on starting to basically bring out where does Beanstalk stand versus other stable coins, and what makes us different, or what sets us apart. Where we are is we're right now planning on bringing in like a panel, a group of people that we think they're influential, or they have influence. So bringing them all together, have them all, ask all of these questions would be even great if we got them on even live on Twitter Space or something like that. And then these people will eventually go and write content with the hope that this content will later be used, to create partnerships opportunities. Now we can move to partnerships. With partnerships, today I think was the first day that we actually saw something come out of the partnerships effort. Jack from Crypto Pragmatist, we've been trying to reach out to him for some time, and then he eventually just came out of nowhere and decided to write about us or tweet about us. We didn't have to pay for any of that, even though when we reached out first, we were offering that we can cover the cost of research. But he went and he did genuine research, and it was good content that was out there. This again was also picked up by someone else. You had Twitter accounts with hundreds of thousands of followers that interacted with this. They retweeted about it, and someone who had a question about it, Publius, replied to him. So all of this content is engagement is great, and we want to continue hammering with it and try to bring in hopefully bigger and bigger names or get attention with it. That's it from my side.
Cool, thanks, Mod. I just dropped that tweet in case anyone missed it. It'd be hard to have missed that today, but in case you missed it, I dropped it in the Barnyard chat. Very, very impressive to get featured there. So yeah, great work to all involved. Just a couple updates from JWW, and then we will about payroll, a couple things, and then we'll get to the big the finale.
Yeah, so real quick, everyone on here, with regards to payroll, thank you for your patience. As Dumpling said, it's we're working through, because it's pretty complex between a lot of different dynamics. So we're working to keep that flow tightened up, and continue to keep everything flowing out on time in terms of paychecks, and in general, trying to wrap that into kind of a broader onboarding process is something that for new members to the DAO, is that something that surfaced for sure, and Dumpling started to piece together a process for that. And then another part in terms of kind of the onboarding side is with new users into the community itself, particularly with Rex, on the community department, with an emphasis on the video curriculum and the education, is definitely something that we're going to be at the forefront over the next couple of weeks to really make sure that we're getting as much digestible content in front of new users, really trying to cut down the, rather than weeks and months of understanding Beanstalk, ideally aim for hours. And the video curriculum, the 0 to Beanstalk, is definitely the way that we're aiming to do it, which will be handling it with quite a bit of urgency. So that's it on that side. I'll just keep it short and sweet.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, are you guys ready? Are you ready for
just to
Beanthoven?
hop in quickly? The only things to mention on the back-end development side is the Omniscia audit is almost done. Thank goodness. We had a call today with the auditors to clarify one last open question we had, and are making final changes on our end to the code. Once we submit to them the commit hash, it should be less than a week until that public report is ready. The only open question we really have on our end at this point is whether we should owner BIP the contract, or whether we should propose a BIP, given that all of the updates are pretty non-substantive. There's one slight vulnerability they highlight in the BDV function, but we think it's not really substantive, and given once the code is laid out, in theory, if you could take slight advantage of Beanstalk at the margin, our expectation is that the changes are probably going to receive a high amount of support from the DAO, especially given the popularity of recent BIPs. So it's if from the time we disclose by proposing the BIP on chain what the issue is, and it's truly marginal until it's committed on chain, if it's a day or two, that's probably acceptable, and we're inclined then not to use owner privileges. So that's where we're at. That's going to be a week or less away, hopefully, from when we're ready to propose that BIP. And there'll be some minor changes to the white paper associated with it, but that's really where our head is at over the next couple days.
Okay, great. Well, we're running a little bit long, so would love to get you guys up on stage here. Beanthoven, Bean talk.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
Can you guys hear us all right?
We
I can
can.
hear okay. You're a little bit like, maybe you're like, feel like 60% of full volume, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, let me turn up my
Yeah, so we're experimenting with a new room setup. You might be able to tell that both of our voices are coming out of Bella Bean Talk's profile. This is the opposite of like technology magic. This is analog IRL magic.
I'll just turn up the mics a little bit. I just don't want it to clip too much. Someday we can figure out a way to do some live concerts with higher fidelity. That might be a fun project.
Yeah, giving this some thought, certainly, as we work on this. But yeah, we wanted to just put something a little together to thank you all for being here on this lovely St. Patrick's Day. So yeah, we hope you enjoy it.
Right? Yeah.
Of all the beans that e'er I've sown, I sowed them in a fertile field, and all the stock my seeds have grown has led me to a goodly yield, and prices rise, and beans will mint, and beans will burn as prices fall. So fill to me the ether pools. Good night and joy be to you all. So fill
pool and watch our beanstalk growing tall. As a million farmers hear the call, good night and beans be to you all.
That was so good.
Let's go.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
I love that.
Thanks a lot. That's Bella Beantalk on the fiddle. Who knew the kid had such talent?
Oh, it's awesome.
My gosh, that was so
I love
good.
this community.
It's Irish song.
Yeah, that was a couple Irish reels thrown together, and then yeah, little take on the parting glass, which that's the classic.
Hey, you guys have to record that and add it to the SoundCloud.
Right.
Okay, it's
Absolutely.
Work in progress.
Hey, where can I find the SoundCloud link? I was looking for it the other day and I couldn't find it.
Okay, so we should probably just we can try to find it here, but we should just post it on to general. Some stuff needs to get uploaded to it, and then yeah, as soon as it's in a good space, which should be very, very soon, we'll make a big fuss out of it so everybody knows.
Oh, I hope you guys do.
Yeah, I sort of threw that SoundCloud up. It's not very good, but at least it lit a fire. So good night, and then beans be to you all. Awesome, guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys.